All right. JT Parr, welcome back to Podcastina.
Psyched to be back.
Psyched to have you back.
Let's go.
You really, telling me that I ask good questions meant a lot. When you had messaged me and you gave me that compliment, and it was like months after we recorded, it just really meant a lot. So thank you.
Dude, it's true because you asked really good questions when I was on, and then I was watching your clips and I was like, oh, they always come out like they're sharp. You use the right amount of length and they always land right where it like sets the person up to answer something interesting. And I was like, it's tough. It's, so you do a good job.
Thank you very much. What's something you're looking forward to right now?
What am I looking forward to? Me and Chad have a new series we're doing where we like coach people who are like sad and try to help them with their life. And we've actually like genuinely helped a couple people, although I think they're a little nervous about it coming out and like seeming vulnerable, which I understand. But their lives have seemingly gotten a little bit better. So that feels really good. And I think they're funny. I'm excited to go to Sacramento tomorrow to do stand up. That's fun. And Chad's dad's up there and my buddy who I grew up with is coming, so that's nice. I'll have some people I like who will be there. And then what's on the horizon that I'm really excited about? My daughter's potty training herself.
Herself?
Yeah, she's just watching the other kids at school do it, and so now she comes home and is like, I want to use the toilet, like the bathroom. And then she gets sad if she dumps in her diaper. She's like, let me use the toilet. I'm like, but you already did it. And she's like kind of bummed. So that's been cool. I'm looking forward to her being on the other side and being a fully toilet using person. And yeah, that's probably it. Those are probably the things right now.
Those are all huge, really cool things. I kind of want to get into each of those because that's
nice.
fun. Let's work backwards. Doesn't it make you realize like how we take the most simple human, not tasks or chores or whatever, like bodily errands for granted when you have a small child in your life and you're like, oh, talking is a whole endeavor. Walking is a whole going to the bathroom. It's like a whole endeavor. Like, does that change your outlook?
Yeah, it definitely makes me probably lighter and happier just to see how much joy they find, because she's got a twin brother too, and like how much joy the two of them find in just little ordinary stuff, like stuff that, yeah, to me is just, yeah, you use the toilet, but to her it's like, I'm using the toilet, and you're like, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's cool to see that kind of stuff out of the eyes of the kid.
Yeah, you definitely get to experience everything twice. Yeah, I said the world hatched new in my hands. I was like, oh, this is like a brand new thing.
That's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, it's how it felt. Sometimes I say the world hatched new in my eyes, but I think hands is better because then you're like holding it rather than just perceiving it.
Yeah.
When I was ChatGPT in the best version of it.
I was going to fully give you credit. Well, I guess you still get the credit.
I came up, the words were mine, but I was like, what do you guys think is a better call here? And ChatGPT was a good editor. They're like, you could do this, you could do that. I was like, that's smart, thanks. Yeah.
My nephew, who's like 19 months now, his vocabulary is on this insane, exponential trajectory.
That's awesome.
Where he can like string together sentences now, which is so cool.
That's wild.
And everything, he's doing this, which I'm like, oh, of course you're born to a family that's obsessed with Fast and Furious. Like my brother, his dad is, we always go on opening day and stuff. But he, at 19 months old, when they're like out and about having brunch out somewhere and he sees like a gray Mazda, which is what his grandma has, he'll be like, grandma car. And he can identify a Tesla and he can identify a Mazda.
Wow.
At 19 months old.
That's really sharp.
Yeah.
Little Shakespeare.
It blows my mind.
He's a smart kid.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, it is. And once they can like put like sentiment together, it's a whole new ball game. It is really sweet. Yeah, so I definitely look forward to them staying the same age forever. That'd be nice.
It marks the passage of time in such a strenuously fast way where just because they change so rapidly that whereas in my own life I maybe wouldn't have noticed 19 months had passed, I notice it in such a tangible way now that I have a small child in my life that's like changing so rapidly.
How do you think you've changed since I've known you? We've known each other, what, like 10 years now, maybe?
Yeah, 10 years, maybe 11. I met you very early on.
Mm-hmm.
I would say in some ways I've reverted back to my teenage self, but in a more authentic, I support her and her needs and her likes more.
Like you don't judge it, you're not as like in conflict with it as you were as a teen?
Yeah, where I've kind of figured out what is my authentic self and how can I authentically represent that and be comfortable with it and be non-judgmental about it. Like I think I was just such a weird, like, degenerate, a little bit outcast kid when I was a teenager, and then I really let so much of that go and was trying to shed it and kind of practice and try on different identities all throughout college and even throughout most of my 20s. And in the last couple of years I've kind of returned to who I was as a teenager, but in just like a more gracious and gentle way.
I feel the exact same way.
Yeah?
Totally. I think like in high school I was could be a bully at times, and I was kind of like talking a lot of shit, and it's like very argumentative. And then so in my 20s I was like, no, I'm going to be like a chill guy. And now I've kind of gone back to being argumentative and talking shit, but it's more like I'm better about it now. I don't hate myself for it as much, and I also don't go as far as I used to. But it does feel it's funny how that works.
It is, and it kind of also lined up with the rhetoric when you get into comedy of, oh, it takes 10 years to figure out who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it did kind of take me exactly 10 years.
Yeah, it is wild. It's so nice they say that. It was nice that we could like come in and like podcast around, and there was those like kind of truisms just floating where they're like, it's going to be 10 years before you even know who you are on stage. And it was hard at times because some people seemingly had it. Some people do have it like instantaneously, but I kind of knew that wasn't going to be me too. I was like, no, I can feel that I've still got layers to peel and stuff.
I wanted it to be me because I kind of grew up in this mindset of, not to like put it on my parents for only having one kid because my brother is my stepbrother, but I grew up an only child. So I've kind of always had this notion that I have to be special and extraordinary and things have to be exceptional for me, and that it wasn't going to take me 10 years and that I was going to be...
Were you like a straight A kid and stuff?
Not at all, but when I applied myself to specific things, I usually would excel at them. So I kind of thought with stand-up that I would get to be the exception to the rule. And then, you know, God humbled me real hard.
Yeah. I was so bad at everything. I had very low expectations for myself. Yeah, I was like, if you can go a month without like crashing your car, that'll be like huge progress, dude. And
the answer is probably both, but I wonder, like, is it better to then have low expectations of yourself? Do you have more room to be excited and grateful for things that happen versus on my end having high expectations, not nailing them, and then having to like grieve the expectation lost?
It's true. I do think it helped me actually, because I was like happy about little progress and I wasn't too hard on myself when it didn't. I asked if you got straight A's because I had friends who like crushed at everything in like high school and college, and then it was a little hard for them once they got outside of it because it wasn't like as set up. You know what I mean? They kind of had to go searching a bit more, and then when it didn't work for them, it was like the first time that it happened, and I know it was kind of hard for them to, and you know now they're good, but like it took them a while to be like, whoa, I can actually be bad at something. Whereas I was coming from it like I've never been good at anything, so like, this journey can take as long as it needs. I'm comfortable with the not being good, but then I wasn't comfortable at times too because it can hurt your soul a lot. And there was times I got pretty sad and I was like, man, I don't know if this is like connecting. Yeah.
Were your parents more accepting of it, or did they push back on you?
No, very supportive. Actually, my dad was the one who told me to go to. I initially started in like film school, and I went to a bad one. But my dad pushed me to go. He's very smart. I think he saw I was kind of just like wayward, and he's like, you love like art and films. I don't think it would have been his first pick for me, but at that point, he was like, I just need to see you like engaged. He used to quote Pink Floyd to me a lot.
Oh,
and he'd be like, "You are comfortably numb." I remember him saying that to me.
Kind of a bar.
It was. He's very good at that kind of stuff. Yeah, so they were both very supportive. I mean, I think they, worried about it, and there's still times now where like, I've had like some higher career moments and then moments where it's kind of gone down, and then like their support the tenor of it does change depending on those things, but I think overall they're just happy that I like found something I really care about.
And that you excel at, so they don't have to worry about you.
I think they still worry a lot. I think they still. When my dad found out that me and my girlfriend were having kids, the first thing he texted my now fiance girlfriend at the time was, believe in my son.
Is that from Pink Floyd too?
Yeah, I don't know where he pulled that one from, but which was like a sweet sentiment. But also, she was like, "Yeah, of course. Like we're having kids." I was like, it was almost like he was protesting too much, but it was nice. But I could tell he was worried and stuff.
Yeah.
What about your parents?
I think my dad doesn't know what's going on, and that's more about him than it is about me.
Yeah.
And then my mom has always been really supportive. I remember initially being afraid to tell her that I wanted to do stand-up.
Oh.
Because I think I was more anticipating kind of the immigrant, how are you going to get a job that's not being a doctor or a lawyer? Like, those are the only two paths that exist.
Where are they from?
Ukraine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I grew up with all of the immigrant pressures of getting a good, stable job and living up to all of the kind of opportunities that they gave me by immigrating here. And so I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Telling them I don't want to. I had like spent all of college getting a business degree, business management, marketing, all of that, working in different assets and real estate, and coming here and being like, oh, I'm going to continue to do real estate in California. And then it just didn't pan out the way that I wanted it to. And then I fell into comedy kind of by accident, and through that realized how badly I wanted to do it.
Sure.
And like once I started doing stand-up, I was like, there's nothing else. Like I must do this at all costs.
It is the best.
It is the freaking best.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was grateful to just find something that I felt that way about, because at that point in my 20s, I felt really, really lost and really unsure of what I wanted to do career-wise. And I was nervous to tell my mom, but then she more so treated it as excitement for herself to live vicariously, because she's artistic and sings and like plays piano. And I think she was so excited that I was pursuing something creative, because ultimately she wished she could pursue something creative. So I was like really pleasantly surprised at the support.
Yeah. I mean, you are her, so she's probably, you were kind of fulfilling something.
Yeah, I bet.
It's nice.
And thankfully, even though it's had, I was going to say ups and downs, mostly downs so far, but
that's all of us.
Yeah, that's all of us. And it's like, I've gotten enough validation throughout the years that I'm like, this is feasible. It does make me money sometimes. Mm-hmm. I just have to keep going. It just does take that much longer.
And even if like, I mean, like I was looking into like laundromats. I was like, I need to be making more money. And I was like, my brother wants to like kind of do that as a business. I was like, oh, I could do that with you. And I was like, but I would just be doing that so I could do more of the stuff I like. It's I think that's just also the circumstances of the world a little bit too. Like I was even some of the, like even when we've looked at TV show deals, sometimes I'm like, well, that's not gonna like cover everything forever. You got to be doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But doing stand-up is, I say all that to say, doing stand-up, when I think about that, I'm like, it makes me love stand-up more, because I'm like, God, it's so fucking great when you get to just go up there and there's a good crowd and you get to connect. I know everyone who's listened to a podcast has heard comedians say this before, but it is true. It feels amazing when you do it.
Yeah, there's a reason all of us get so insanely. I'm kind of, I don't want to say envious, but I look at people who quit and who are able to quit and actually stay away from it, and I'm like, how? I could never.
Yeah, it's hard to picture.
Yeah.
I could try. I just don't know. I think I got to keep just do it forever.
There's just no high like doing well on stage.
Yeah, and it's just built into my nervous system now. Like I'll still go to mics once in a while. I'm just like, I just got to get some shit off my chest.
Yeah.
Like, this is just how I like reroute emotions and stuff. So it's a functional for me.
How has the tour been going?
It's been good. Yeah, we were just I had to leave our last leg in Florida early because I had a family thing I had to attend to. But it was great. I love Tampa. St. Pete's is like their pretty beach out there. It's amazing. I didn't have enough time to go to Clearwater. I guess it's been taken over by Scientologists, so they're a little down on it.
Oh.
The Lokes. I love Tampa. It's like I've never been to Cuba, but it kind of has those vibes, and the people are just really cool. I didn't get to go to Orlando, which sucks because Chad loves to go to the amusement parks there. He's a huge like Disney guy.
Oh.
Like his dream guest is like an Imagineer on the podcast. So
That's
I've been trying to. He's really supportive of me when I want to have on like people I like. So I'm trying to find him an Imagineer to come on, and it's fun to go to theme parks with him because that's all he wants to do on the road is like find the best. He'll like, dude, we can go to Busch Gardens. They got this one roller coaster, like the Velociblaster. Blaster. And he's like, it's the only one that has like, and then he knows like a lot about engineering from roller coasters. It's the only one that has like a dual axis mechanism that moves you vertically and then triangulates you 360. I'm like, dude, hell yeah, man. So I didn't get to do that with them this time, which is kind of a bummer. But I love Florida. The crowds are good there. They're very laid back. And before there, where were we? I think Wisconsin was amazing. Madison was like the best place. And then we're doing Sacramento tomorrow. And yeah, Chad's just a great guy to travel with. Like, we don't party, and I think sometimes that lets down the people who know us from like the party bro stuff. But yeah, we have a great time. Like, we're gonna do Texas next week, and we'll get to drive from Plano to Austin together, and yeah, it's good time for us to connect too. We always have really good conversations driving. It's nice I get to do it with him, I guess. And now he's doing a one-man show, which is really cool. It's like this whole different art piece that he's doing that's kind of like Birbiglia-ish, but like a little more satire, and it's helped my stand up too, like selfishly. I love that he's doing it. I think it's like one of the best things he's ever done. And then also like it differentiates us a little bit too. And we talk about so many of the same topics that sometimes when we do stand up back to back, I think the crowd's like, didn't I just hear this? But like this guy's slightly angrier and this guy's slightly more fun. And then
are you the slightly angrier one?
Yeah, exactly. And Judge is like, I'm having a good time. And then so it's been good that way, and it's fun to just watch him like work on it and build it and like take a big risk with something like that. So that's been really enlarging. So yeah, if anyone listening is thinking about coming, it's a really cool show right now. Yeah, I'm proud of it.
I like that, and I like the idea that you can have, each of you doing your own separate projects too. It's like what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It can only help the two of you and the things that you do collaborate on.
Totally. It's he's so supportive of me. Like when I try to run for city council or when I did like my own interview series and stuff. And I try to be the same way with him. And I think that's what it is. It's like if we try to hold each other like this, I think that you want to see him be the best him he can be. And I feel supported too. So we're good that way. We're like it's funny when I think about it. I'm like, is it like poly? like I don't know. I don't think I could do poly like as a romantic system, but like as a work system, it's kind of smart. Yeah, it's like, yeah, go write something with that guy. Have fun.
I love that.
I'm here if you need me, dog. I love you. Have fun. You don't have to tell me about it. Just go do your thing. Yeah, I trust you.
What are your crowds like on the road?
They're good. They're different everywhere, but like oftentimes it's like we get a lot of, and this is like this is not a brag, but it might sound like that. I've always had like just super handsome friends. I don't know what it is, but like in high school, like all my high school buddies are like good looking dudes. And like, I think I'm like attracted to good looking guys, not in like a gay way, but like maybe a little gay, but they just always have fun experiences. Like I'm just always like, especially in your 20s, you're like, what'd you get up to last weekend? And they just would always have a great story. I was like, oh, it was just exciting. And then for whatever reason, now it's funny when I see our crowds, I'm like, oh yeah, you guys all look like my buds. So there's pretty girls there, and they're always there with their very handsome husband. and our crowds are also most of the time pretty happy. They seem like pretty happy people, and the club managers tell us they drink a lot, so that's good too.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so that hopefully it helps us come back.
Are you good at kind of maintaining some of your routine on the road, or how do you handle not having all of that travel throw you off kilter, like diet wise and health wise?
I was really bad at it at first, and then I was bringing really bad energy on stage. I would just like stay in my room and be a gremlin, and then I'd come on stage and I'd like, why are they not responding well to me? It's like, because you're not living like a human. So now, like I told you, I liked Pittsburgh. Right when I get to Pittsburgh, I go to like a Whole Foods and I'll buy like some chicken and some sardines and like some like healthy food that I can just snack on. And then I make sure I try to get out there. If the club will cover it, I'll go out the night before, just so I can have like a day to really explore. And so like in Pittsburgh, I'll go to like a Frank Lloyd Wright house, like Falling Water, and just try to really take advantage of it and like connect to the town. And that helps a lot. But it does take some effort, because there's a part of me that's like, and I'm so lucky I get to do it, but like there's a part of me that's like, well, I could just stay in bed all day. And it's like, no, go see something, and like your self-esteem will be better, and then you'll have a better set.
That's so true.
And it does tend to work. I feel like I deserve a good set after I like, work out and go see something and like talk to locals and stuff. I'm like, all right, no, like I'm ready to bring something to people. So that tends to help a lot.
And it's a mindset thing too. It's like you're going through the motions of doing all that stuff, but then you're like what you just said of, oh, I deserve to have a good show now.
Yeah. And it's a real thing. Like if I'm living my life well, my work is always better. We were talking about we were talking shit on people before we started. Sorry guys, you could miss that. Like,
Patreon.
Yeah. But like some people it doesn't affect them. And I'm not like a great guy, but like I do find that if I'm living in a way that like I call it egosyntonic, like where I'm living in line with my values, like I will perform better. Like I don't know. It's just like I feel like I deserve it. Yeah.
It's true. I was thinking that with like my living situation and how looking back, anytime I've had a stressful environment that I've been in, especially my home environment, like having had shitty roommates in the past or just apartments that didn't have air conditioning or like pretty basic utilities.
Yeah.
And how much that bled into every aspect of my life and like my inability to be creative, my inability to just like have a decent place to recharge.
Yeah.
And so it's that too. It's like you have to move through spaces that feed you and fill your cup.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta. It's crazy how much work to be good at something. How much, and I, honestly, I'm not the most disciplined about it. Like I don't write enough and stuff like that. But yeah, if you almost you got to be so focused on the thing, and it takes so many different kinds of ways to like treat that focus. It's yeah, like sometimes I'll listen to other people on a podcast. I'm like, damn, you do all that all day? I'm like, fuck, dude.
What? Like they're
like Birbiglia will be like, oh, I wake up and like I put on a suit, I go to a coffee shop and I write for 3 hours every morning, and
do
like
you believe that?
and I don't look at my phone until like 2 p.m. Yeah, and I'm just using him as the placeholder for it. I don't even know if he said exactly that, but no, I don't believe it. I guess I do believe it when I hear it. I'm like, maybe. I'm like half and half. Yeah, I think he's probably working harder than me, but not as hard as he says. Yeah. So are they just saying that to sound cool then?
I don't know. That's how I feel when I hear people talk about how low their screen time is or that they don't bring their phone in their bedroom. I'm like, I don't know if I buy it.
My screen time is brutal, man. I'm like 9 hours a day. I'm on that thing constantly. And my fiance gets upset. And then sometimes I'm like, bro, you don't want me all the way focused. I'm like, that's not going to be good for either of us. I get my feelings hurt too much. I'm like, cause I do go to my phone. Like if me and her are having like a little, if we're just on different wavelengths, I'll just look at like, she'll say something like, oh, no, that wasn't it. And then I'll just look at my phone. Like if I don't have my phone, I'll just be staring at her with like, like I'm not going to hide my feelings and I'm too sensitive. It'll be all this like intensity and we'll have to grapple with that. I'm like, I think the phone's the lesser of the evils, but I am on it too much for sure.
Yeah, I'm on it a lot, but my feelings get hurt so much on my phone.
Yeah, that's true too. I'm like, hey, this is kind of hurting my feelings. And I go on my phone, it's all these comments. Like, shut up. I'm like, well, that's not really a safe place to land either.
No.
That's true. Yeah, we're kind of getting it from all sides.
Yeah. Have you gotten any kind of pushback for being like more political post your campaign?
Oh, all the time. I have arguments. It's so I've probably been like political online for like 2 years now, and I've done it so much now it's kind of hardwired into my nervous system where like if I go a week or two without like digging into one of those issues, I'm like, I don't feel like myself. I'm like, I think I need to argue with like 4 guys online today. And so I waited on Ezra Klein and Ta-Nehisi Coates, who are both like prominent I don't want to categorize them politically, but like they're more to the left, and they were having a back and forth about like the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk thing. And then they had a podcast where they kind of debated each other. And I weighed in on that and a bunch of people were yelling at me and I was like, this is great. I was just arguing with some guys. And the thing I hear the most is you're an idiot. Like you're Chad's funnier and like, and like stick to comedy clown. And I kind of love it. I think it makes me tougher, and I'll argue with those people, and I think a lot of times I'll kind of whoop them, and then I feel better, and I'm like, I might have helped that guy. Like, dude, this is super braggy, but after the Charlie Kirk thing, I had my opinions. I don't want to weigh in on that, but a couple people got upset at me, and I got 3 people to apologize online to me.
Whoa.
Yeah, I hit 3. I was on a roll. I was like, say you're sorry. And 3 guys were like, I'm sorry. Because one guy, I was saying, I said publicly callous, and he thought callous. He didn't know what the word callous meant. So he goes, "Of course you say that. You're like a piece of shit lefty lib." And I go, "Callous means being mean, you dick. I was telling people not to be mean."
Mm-hmm.
And then he tried to talk shit more, and I go, "Why don't you just say you got it wrong? Why don't you just say you got it wrong?" And then he goes, "I got it wrong." And I was like, "You're a good guy." And then
That's
me
amazing.
and then me and him like broed out. Now we're probably friends for life. Yeah. So I like all that. I guess the long of that is like, I think all that heat generates light. I like arguing with people about that stuff. It feels good. But then sometimes I get too into it and like my whole system burns out, or I'll say something I don't really believe and then I'll like crash for a day. But overall I like it. What about you?
I'm trying to figure out where my balance is, and there's a part of me that wants to completely stay the fuck out of it. Like, so out of it that people get mad at me for staying out of it, which is also part of one of the issues, right? It's like, if you decide to be a comedian who never comments on anything political at all, you will get backlash on that just as much as you'll get backlash
like
for
silence
speaking
is
out.
violence. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is tough. I think, it's funny, me and Chad are kind of opposites. Chad is more, he stays out of
He
it
stays out of everything
all the way. And I think that's really helped him. And like, he has a ton more followers, and like, I think his stuff is funnier because of that. And then me, I'm just not wired that way. I'm more like, I realized when we were talking about like returning to your high school self, I was like, no, I actually think authentically I'm someone who wants to engage with this stuff. But how helpful that is, like, I don't know. I think sometimes not commenting might be better, because I think part of the problem is our obsession and the rage that comes from that obsession. So sometimes I think even if you're making a good point, you're just contributing to this ugly medium that's hurting us overall. So I don't know if there is a right or wrong way.
I haven't found it either, and my impulse is to comment on things and is to fight with people, and I really wish it wasn't, but it is my impulse, and I try to do it. I don't like name call people online.
Sure.
And I will post something sometimes like a little inflammatory. I do kind of post like a ton of anti-red pill content.
Yeah.
And I get a ton of backlash on that from red pill guys.
Yeah, who are the worst? And honestly, dude, like me comparing what I get online to what female comedians get online.
Yeah, we are like the most hated group.
It's just not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are like, this will sound pandery, but I mean, you have to be tougher, because you're getting so much direct invective, and they'll just go after everything. Like, even unprovoked, even if you are silent, they'll still find a way to go after you.
It's true.
The thing I was thinking is like, guys should have to pay to be able to do that. Like, you should get money for that.
Oh my God, I wish.
Yeah.
What a great idea.
Right? Like, look, you can call me all the names under the sun, but it's going to cost you $5. And I wonder how many guys would still...
Probably a lot.
Would still pay for it. Yeah.
And it's the potential for monetization that is the only thing that kind of allows, whether that is horrible for me to say, I'm trying to be genuine here, but like, when I post that stuff, it gets more engagement because I have men saying shitty things in the comments, and then other people arguing on my behalf. And so I'll, like, some of the most viral things I've ever had have been because I know they're going to be inflammatory. And I'm like, is that kind of shitty of me to be purposely doing that? It kind of is what Charlie Kirk built his career on. But I'm like, how else am I going to get numbers?
I don't see you hunting that. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
it's not too, I'm not too.
No, I think you're doing it to like a degree that's probably authentic. Yeah.
I try.
Yeah, I think about that too sometimes, where I'm like, oh, I commented on ice and it's like, blah, the numbers are like triple. But then I'm like, and maybe I'm being blind to myself a little bit, but I don't think I'm doing it for the thing. It's what everyone's talking about too. And a lot of times it's something I feel very strongly about. Like, I don't know, if I cry about something, I'm like, and I'm posting about it, it's probably because I feel compelled to, yeah. But yeah, the numbers are nice. I just want to say I'm just cynical at the end. Yeah.
Do you get people, like, this is kind of going back to the first thing that you said you were excited about, of you and Chad doing advice stuff. I would imagine a lot of young guys are probably coming to you, like, you always post those Q&As and asking for relationship advice and things like that. Like, do you see any kind of patterns emerging from what young men are dealing with?
Yeah, I think with just specifically with our the people who pay attention to our stuff, a lot of them I would say are actually too nice, which is weird. Like, I think there's this idea of like toxic men, and it's real. And like it's tied into these other kind of pathologies like xenophobia or misogyny and like just like dominance, like just getting money and having status and all these things that are that feel kind of bad. But then like the guys who follow us are like so worried about that stuff that sometimes I'm like, you might need a little dose of that for balance. Like they're so therapized out, they're so thoughtful that it's like causing an action. And so, but hey, I broke up with like my girlfriend like 2 years ago. Do you think it's like time maybe I get back out there? I'm like, yes. I'm like, yes, go cheat on someone. I'm like, just do something. Like, get out there and just do it. And like, I think sometimes I get blowback from people who are like, this is like toxic advice. I'm like, I wouldn't tell this to a guy. If some guy was like, hey, like I got 4 chicks on the back burner, but I think I might like, I wouldn't tell that guy to like keep doing what he's doing. But I'm like, with these specific guys who I care about a lot, I'm like, I think you need to like, sometimes it feels like they're like in a straitjacket that they put on themselves. I'm like, you got to get out there and like live. And I trust these guys. I wouldn't tell them to do things if I thought they were going to be like unethical. So I'm like, just trying to give them a little more gas in their tank to see how fast they can go and go do stuff. Yeah.
I love that. And you're obviously using discernment to figure out who to tell what to. It's not blanket advice for everybody.
Yeah, you can tell. And you can talk to them a little bit and you're like, oh, this is just like a really sweet guy. Like, sometimes I'll get too into it. I had one kid one time, he's like, all right, so like I got an apartment with my ex-girlfriend, but she's here with her new boyfriend who she didn't tell me was going to be moving in with us. And they're having sex and it's really loud. And the new boyfriend like drank all my juice and now he's like, he kind of shoved me. Like, what should I do? Should I talk to her about it? I'm like, no, you should move out. He's like, well, I don't want to lose her. I'm like, dude, no. And sometimes these people, you realize they're not going to, I'm not a licensed therapist, so I know people would be like, dude, you shouldn't be doing any of this, but it's just kind of, I guess it's just a risky thing I do, but that I like feel like my intuition is good. Like with that kid specifically, I remember him, and I've changed some of the details, but I was like, he's not going to move out. He's just going to stay in that situation. That's just the way it is, and that's fine. And then he followed up a couple months later and was like, yeah, it was awful. And I was like, I know, but I guess you had to go through it. But yeah, I'd say a lot of it is just, they're really sweet guys, I guess would be my overall thing. A lot of them are just really, really sweet guys.
That's good. It's nice to hear that that's the majority, because I think online the majority is probably the people that are just the loudest, and they're not actually who there's the most of in society, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't know. And we've had toxic guys too. We've had toxic guys come to the show, and sometimes when I post stuff, we'll get, it's definitely gotten worse too. I think toxic people feel more comfortable saying ugly things now online. It feels like there's so much of it. Maybe there's no risk of getting in trouble anymore. But yeah, I'd say for the guys who tend to message on those Q&As, they tend to be really sweet.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me hopeful.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I do like. It's weird because I'm just like, we're just talking on Instagram, but I do like worry about them sometimes. I'm like, but they'll be fine. Yeah.
And they are coming to you, so it doesn't really matter if it's, oh, you're not a licensed therapist. Neither am I, but if someone thinks that I could have something of value to add, I'm going to try my best.
Yeah. And I try not to give like reckless advice. Like one guy was like, I want to follow my dreams. I was like, well, try and do that while you got your job. Like I try not to be like, dude, yeah, quit your job. I don't know you. Just get on the road, figure it out. Yeah. You'll be all right.
That's the thing is with any kind of creative pursuit now, and it's like everybody wants to be a content creator no matter what type of content it is anymore.
Yeah, and every job needs like a front of the house guy now.
It does, but it's still a matter of you got to do things with security.
Some pragmatism, totally. Yeah, I'll see like Keenan Ivory Wayans in like a documentary. He's like, I had no plan B. If I had a plan B, I wouldn't have gone for it. I'm like, man, that's badass, and I super respect that. But I think the guys who are, and sometimes I want to give that advice because I do think that's probably, if you really want to be like a huge like Jim Carrey type guy, maybe you got to do something like that. But then I'm like, I think those guys already know that, and they don't need to hear it. They don't need me to. If they're asking me, they're not that person anyway. So maybe this person should be more pragmatic.
I also think for most people, they shouldn't do the starving artist route because it is so difficult to make it. And as much as that's like a shitty thing for us to have to like admit and worry about, and for me to think, oh, okay, well, this isn't promised no matter how hard I work at it.
It's true. And I think, we've doing stand up, there was so many people, because I'm lucky. I grew up like super privileged, so I have like a safety net. I've had an easy go of it. And when people are like, oh, you were born on third base and you think you hit a triple, I'm like, I don't really think about it that way. I just think I was given a lot more at bats. And I saw other, it's a very like spoiled thing to even try to reframe it, but I saw a lot of funny people who were doing the starving artist thing. But like if something goes wrong, it's really hard to get another at bat because they got to rebuild so much stuff and the infrastructure is not there. And that's probably why it is helpful to be pragmatic, because it just allows you to sustain where this thing will beat you up so much. You kind of need that.
It will. And as someone who's gone all in not a responsible way, I would never recommend people do it how I do it.
Was that scary?
It's still scary.
Right.
I mean, I'm still, I'm currently once again like risking everything to move out to Austin. I'm giving up my day job, and I'm, that's going to be like a big.
But you're smart. I
try to do it in a responsible way.
Yeah, and you like did the analysis on it and were like, I think this is the move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that comes into play a lot with like issues in general for society with people, because I think about like Maslow's triangle a lot, and you hear all this rhetoric of, oh, we have to help these guys who are just like losers and sitting around on their couch and not doing anything and not quote unquote pulling themselves up by their bootstraps and stuff. But if your base level Maslow's triangle needs aren't being met, and you're worried about how to keep the electricity on, how to keep like food on your table and a roof over your head, you can't get up to the self-actualization stage where you are then, going after entrepreneurial pursuits, creative pursuits. Like, you can't do those things if you're in a psychological state of like fight or flight all the time, because your basic needs aren't being met. So when we have a shitty economy and we have just all the resources being siphoned out of the middle class, you're going to have so much less access and less ability for people to break out and do those cool creative things, because they don't have that safety net at all.
And less empathy for people too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it like that, because me and my fiance we'll get into like little arguments about that sometimes where, and she's the greatest, but like she'll just be like, something about how dudes are struggling will come up, and I'll be very like compassionate towards it, and she'll be a little more eye rolly about it, and there'll be like some, like, but I think that's true. It's like when so many people are struggling, it's hard to be like, oh, well, I feel bad for this group, especially if that group's tied to like, historically being on top and stuff like that. It's like
Monty.
Yeah, you don't like it either. I'm sorry, dude. I'm not a men's rights guy. I'm just sorry, dude. Yeah. I mean, and it is. I posted that the other day. I was like, for the first time in my life, I was like, I do think my parents had it easier than me.
They definitely did.
Like, it feels like we are in a period of like, but because I grew up spoiled, I was like, I never thought that. I was like, I've had it good, man. But then I think about like, how much house costs, how much college costs, just like what the cost of living was relative to people's income, and what the opportunity was. Like my dad got into the hair care business. There was like 600 different brands that could actually, turn a profit. And then through the course of his career, I saw most of those get bought up by conglomerates, and I saw it become more like a hegemony. But it's, it does feel like we're just in this unique moment in time. And I think we'll figure it out. I'm kind of terminally optimistic, which is probably why I sided with Klein versus Coates and that whole thing. But like, I do think we'll figure it out. But it's a tough spot right now.
It is, and the way that it's all like, none of it is in a vacuum on its own. The men's rights issues and women's issues,
they're all connected.
It's all connected to the economy at large, and it like, men are falling behind because everybody is falling behind, not just because it's men specifically.
Yeah, like women have come up, but they're still behind, and then men are like, but we've fallen down.
Yeah. So it's hard because I want those conversations to happen more, and I want to leave space for recognition that like, men are struggling, and some of that is because those men just like refuse to change and get with the times. And the difference is the kinds of men who were able to, back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, find a partner and get married and have that support system can't anymore now that women do have financial independence because we just won't put up with shitty behavior.
Yeah.
So it's like there's the group that understands that and recognizes it and does things like go to therapy or be introspective, work on themselves, improve themselves, and be valuable partners. And it's not about height and it's not about how much fucking money you make. It's about being a kind, respectful partner.
Yeah, and being like an asset to the team in whatever ways you can be. Like, even if it's not like that you're not the tallest or you don't make the most money, it's like those things are good. But like there's other things that are good that you could probably fill in, but maybe you don't want to because that doesn't feel as good to your soul. It's not like as empowering as you would want it to be. Because I do know guys who have like I mean, definitely in terms of being a dad, guys are way better now. I saw some stuff. My dad never changed a diaper. He was a great dad, but he never changed a diaper. I think he lied, dude. My mom was like, "No, John Thomas, he never changed a diaper." And then, and like all my friends who are dads now are like super invested. And I would still say women definitely carry a heavier burden with that. But I think men are doing more on that front. And I know a lot of guys who like are more stay at home and stuff. And it's yeah, but I think it's even tough for them sometimes. I think they are like, oh, I don't know if this is like kind of what I, maybe not the conquistador I pictured I'd be, but but I am close to my little tykes, and that's kind of nice. So, yeah. So I think in some ways they have improved, but yeah, that probably is tough. I mean, are you seeing someone right now? No, that's good. Yeah,
I would like to. That was like a big shift that happened for me. I started kind of panicking a little bit after my nephew was born. I changed my mind about kids. I used to vehemently be against having kids. And then I was like, oh shit, I guess I do want a family.
Sure.
And so now I feel like the pressure of
I think that happens to a lot of women too. And it's tough. That is probably one of the tough parts about having like more opportunity now too. It's like which road do I pick? And then can I do both at the same time?
And I think I can do both at the same time. Part of the other issue for me was that I had never been in a relationship with someone that I could see that with.
Sure.
And I think that was contributing to my assumption that I didn't want a family. It was just like, oh, because how could I have a family with this fucking guy, you know?
Totally.
And so a lot of it was that. And a lot of it was also just I was never in a place where I was like, oh, yeah, I want kids, but I'm not ready for them now. It kind of was this instantaneous shift of, oh, I do want them and I could do it like tomorrow.
Yeah. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Were you mad at your brain for making that switch?
I still haven't gotten there. I still don't know what my feelings about those what my like fucking, what do you call it? Like,
I don't know.
It's so layered because it's the feeling of wanting family and then the feelings about wanting family. It's like this kind of, 2x like thing, variable of feelings on top of feelings, where it also happened in alignment with my nephew was born and I got off birth control for the first time in like 15 years within 2 months of each other.
Yeah,
so I don't even know what caused
clips
it.
About that.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to change the kind of guys you're attracted to, right?
Yeah.
Wait, so the stuff I've heard on like probably the more red pill adjacent stuff is that when you're on birth control, you're attracted to safer guys.
It's true.
Because they'll be more nurturing towards the kid.
Because your body thinks you're already pregnant. Right.
And so you're looking for someone nurturing rather than like when you're off birth control and you want like the strong virile guy that's going to provide you with the powerful offspring. So you're back to that. Yeah. You're like more attracted to like MMA fighters now.
Right. Like, ooh, look at that smashed up cauliflower ear. Put one in me right now. I don't know. Because then it's like I look at the fathers I know, like the young fathers that I know. And it's so attractive to see them like thriving. And it's so wonderful to see them be so hands-on, like you're saying. And I'm like, oh, I would definitely want that because I am so quickly turned, like I had a crush on a guy. We were in like the talking phase. And the thing that completely turned me off was that he slammed a door really hard in front of me. And I was like, ooh, that's toxic masculinity. Goodbye.
What?
Yeah, because to me, that speaks to...
It was an accident.
It wasn't an accident. That's it.
Oh, he was doing it on purpose?
He was emotional. He was mad at the door for malfunctioning. So he slammed the shit out of the door in front of a woman. And to me, I go, oh, you don't know how to process your emotions. Because if you're taking it out on an inanimate object, at one point are you going to take it out on me?
It's so funny, man. I'm pretty emotional.
But do you take it? Would you punch a wall?
Yeah. I have.
Really?
And so
Okay.
all my partners, a lot of, not all, but a lot of them have been like, have asked that question. They're like, when are you going to hit me?
Mm-hmm.
Proud to say never. But, and to me, as like an emotional person and as a defensive person, I'd be like, what? Like, I'm not going to hit you.
Yeah.
And then like, but it's just so funny too. Like, it always frustrates my fiance because like, I don't know, sometimes she'll tell me something, but like, I don't know it's true until I hear it from somebody else. It's like hearing you say this and like, we're not in a relationship, so I can hear it without being defensive. I'm like, oh, that's just a normal thing that people think. Like if you slam a door, they think maybe you do, that'll extrapolate into violence against them. But like me, when I was in a relationship and I would hear that, it would hurt me. I'd be like, why would you think that about me? And then I'd feel very judged, and I'd feel like, and then like, you know, if they grabbed my arm one time, like hard or something, like when they were upset, I'd be like, oh, I'd be like, oh, I'd be very like, immature about it and like kind of like trying to catch them or something like and probably because I felt so wounded about the thing. But yeah, I don't know. I think you are right that person, and like I don't know this guy, so I'm not going to tell you to like go date him. It turns out he's like, you know, got priors for something crazy. But it's I think you were probably right that he probably doesn't know how to process emotions. I'd say I can be in that camp sometimes. But yeah, I don't know if that meant that, you know, he was gonna take it beyond that.
It might not, and it definitely might not. But to me, that reads as being someone who's like too. I guess I just don't appreciate when
feel
someone.
Safe.
I don't feel safe, and I wouldn't think that person has like healthy tools in their toolkit to de-escalate.
Yeah.
Number one, and to also just be better at processing emotion. And there's people. It's like just about different tastes too. Like, you know,
some people like that.
Some people like that. Some people come from these
my
big,
mom,
loud
like Latin women. They
Latin
like that
women,
charge.
Italians. Like, there's definitely cultures where it's so much more respectable, or not just respectable. It's like acceptable.
Yeah.
And it's more of what people are used to, so they gravitate towards it.
Yeah.
So not only do they accept it, but they actually are attracted to it because it's familiar.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I really just only fucking want peace. And if I feel like someone might blow up at me or raise their voice or hit a wall or slam a door, I'm now going to feel unsafe to like speak my truth and to bring up grievances because I'm going to be scared that that's the reaction that I get. And that reaction like shuts me down. My nervous system doesn't do well with that kind of reaction.
So I'm the opposite. I'm like, I need a reaction. And so like most people I've dated kind of go avoid it and shut down. They're like, this is over, I'm going in the other room. And then I'm like, no, I need like I need a hit, I need a spark. And so that's always been the tension. But I do kind of think I should be with someone who's like that, because if I was with someone who was as emotionally reactive as I can be when I'm at my worst, then it would be like we would just
volatile.
We just float off, and like it would just, no one would be able to decelerate. And then sometimes I actually think me being that way is actually good, because like sometimes avoiding people avoid things and they don't want to talk, and I'm very much like, no, we need to like get this. So when I'm at my best, it's a positive, because I'm clearing the air, I'm working towards intimacy, I'm making sure that like we're looking at the thing and we're not just like burying it. But then, you know, if there was two of that, we'd stare at the thing all day and we'd never live a normal day. We'd just be like, what's the most vulnerable thing you're feeling in the world right now? It's like, dude, I'm just trying to go to Target. I'm like, no, but what pains you? What are you most afraid of right now? Like it's like, so it's I guess I'm like kind of just like endorsing like polarities or something like that. That's probably not the right word, but some kind of like opposite charge to kind of balance.
I think so too, because I am in that camp of being like pretty fucking avoidant. And sometimes I will shut down to the point where I will get in my head about being mad at myself that I'm so shut down. But it's an impenetrable wall. Like once I'm in that mood, or once I'm in that kind of like, let's say I've had a conflict, I can't get past the shutdown. Like I have to wait it out. There's like no tool I can reach for.
It's just time.
It's just time is the only like I've been therapied out of my fucking mind like for so many years.
I did too much.
Yeah, too much.
I was not able to do normal things. I was like, what am I? My therapist would think about this. Like, what color your braces are going to be? Like, just pick, dude. Wait, so when you come out of it, when you've had enough time, what does that look like when you like reemerge?
Most of the time I end up dropping whatever it was. Like I
just
kind
move
of
on.
I will marinate in something until I realize that it's not that important to me, and then I'll just move on. Or if it is that important to me, I will come up with like dialogue in my head of just making sure that I have like a calm, collected way of expressing what needs of mine didn't get met.
Yeah.
And then being like, hey, this is what I need moving forward, and just delivering it in the most calm,
Oh, that's
peaceful
very
way.
helpful.
Yeah.
This is good.
But I do drop things most of the time. I realize I'm like, well, the conflict or the wedge that this might put in the relationship is probably not worth it for me here. And it very much becomes like picking my battles. And most of the time, I don't pick the battle.
This is extremely helpful for me. Thank you.
Of course. It's good to get. And I appreciate
it's so important to have
Yeah.
friends from the opposite gender.
It's so important.
Yeah.
It is.
Because I'm flying blind. So
No, but your POV about like you could punch a wall and it means you would never necessarily take it out on a person. It's good to hear that.
Yeah, and I've learned to not do that too. Like, but I do remember doing it a couple times. Like, I remember like it was not even stuff related to my partner, but I remember she came over and she's like, "Did you punch the door?" And I was like, "Yeah," and she was like just staring at it, and I was like. And I think even there was like a little bit of like me trying to be tough too. There's so many different layers to that as well. But I've definitely lost it before. And that's the thing. Because my family was like a scrum. We just fought all the time.
Mine did too. And it did the opposite.
Oh.
It turned me into someone who's like absolutely terrified of confrontation.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was in such a screamy household.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
It's a weird pivot, but how are you and your family feeling about everything going on in Ukraine?
You know, I don't talk to them about it that much because initially, like, I was keeping tabs on my grandpa's family, like that side of the family. There's still some there. And then I really don't know where they're getting their information from because a couple of times that I did try to talk to them about it, they hate Zelensky. And I couldn't understand what that was coming from.
I've heard a lot of that lately, actually.
Yeah.
Like there was like he shut down an anti-corruption investigation because I think there were some people in his cabinet who were maybe doing some weird financial stuff. I think all that stuff happens with all these people in conflict. And then I guess, yeah, they're doing forced conscriptions. Like if you're just a man under 60, they're like, you got to go fight now. So I could see people being upset. And I don't know the situation extremely well, but yeah, I don't think anyone comes out of those things very popular.
No, I don't think so. And we had like my mom's close childhood friend from Ukraine, her daughter's husband and their family came to stay with my mom, like not this last Thanksgiving, but the Thanksgiving before. And they had kind of escaped under the guise of, oh, we don't want to be, they don't want him to get drafted because he was in his 30s and he was about to get drafted. And he's this like wealthy tech guy who was based in Ukraine but was working for some European company, and he could kind of be anywhere. And so they got out of Dodge so that he wouldn't get drafted.
Yeah.
And so there's those aspects of it where it's the humanitarian thing where it's like, this is horrible for this family. They had to leave their home. They had to move somewhere else and start over. And now I guess what's going on, so my mom's groomer in Cleveland, who also took care of Monty a couple months ago when we were there, she is a Ukrainian refugee, and something just changed within this administration where they're now getting deported. She's going to have to go to Poland.
Wait, getting deported by the
ICE.
U.S.?
By the U.S.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because they're not doing like asylum anymore.
Yeah, I guess not.
Wow.
So that's pretty shitty because you would think that at the very least we would be allowing war asylum.
Yeah. Especially for something that we're, even though there's been some intermittent funkiness with it, we're like helping, like we're financing to a certain degree, or to a large degree. Yeah, that's really tough. Yeah, that stuff's been awful. All of the, I had a guy from ICE calling me during the LA protests.
What?
Yeah. He was like a follower of mine, and he was like giving me their side on it.
What was that?
Like showed me video of them like getting like, I don't want to, I might ask you to cut this. I'll just talk about it.
Yeah.
He showed me video of like, he's like, we got shot on here. He's like, they shot at us. And he's like, the news is saying it was just like a brick, but like, he's like, you can listen. And I was like, and then there was some like substantive stuff that was helpful about just like policy. Like 287G was basically the law we had in place in California before we became a sanctuary city, which is why we didn't have as much federal, we didn't have as many federal agencies taking care of immigration, because basically if a cop picked you up and then they ran your stuff and you were illegal, then they put you into the system. So it mostly fell to local police to be the net to filter illegals to the feds. And that's why we didn't have like ICE raids and stuff like that. But then that was issues because then
Yeah.
you know, you don't want to feel like if you live here, you don't want to feel like the local police are like profiling you and stuff. But I didn't know about that law and stuff, and it was at least gave me some historical context. And yeah, a big thing he wanted to do was like, and this is an interesting thing that I think everyone kind of does, is he's like, dude, I'm not a big Trumper. I'm not even like super conservative. He's like, I'm pretty middle of the road. And I was like, I would tell him this. So I don't think I'm saying anything different than, but I was like, I don't think you're middle of the road, man. I was like, you're working for ICE, and I was like, and that's kind of what everyone says. Like, no one thinks they're all the way the thing that they kind of are. So I felt a little like cognitive dissonance from him, and yeah, and then we just stopped talking and stuff. But and then he had some conspiracies about like Karen Bass and Newsom and whatever. And honestly, some of it was like pretty compelling, and I was like, whoa. But then I would go down the rabbit hole, and I was like, all right, I need to just know what I know and, and go step by step.
That's tough because I don't know much, and maybe you know more just with your experience, like, you know, being in that world of local politics. But like, it seems like she is doing a bad job.
Oh,
just
Karen
from
Bass?
what I
I think
observe.
Yeah, and even beyond the ICE stuff, I think she's done a really bad job.
Yeah, like we know the fires were terribly mishandled.
Just the optics of it were so
yeah,
bad. She
so
was
fucking
in,
bad.
like Ghana.
Which,
doing,
like, why is a mayor in a different country doing what?
Like pure politics.
Yeah.
I know. And then the thing I care most about is housing, and she kind of did a bad job on that. Like she had a housing thing called ED1 that was helping housing go faster and more affordable, especially for low income housing. And I think it was working too well, and they kind of gutted the program. So I think
when was it working too well?
no, just in the short term, like they had like approval for like 6 new buildings that were going to go up that had a lot of low income housing mandates in them, and I think then rich developers or rich people who lived in the neighborhood were like, hey, we're not crazy about this, and she got a lot of blowback, and she ended up kind of neutering the program a little bit.
Okay, that makes sense. They built some affordable housing behind this building, and that's my first experience that I've seen with it.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, it's but yeah, I don't think anyone's psyched on which, and that was the tough part with all that stuff too. Is I felt like I did think there was a little, I don't know, like opportunism where I'm like, well, this is good for Newsom and Bass because now they get to stand up to Trump, and this is the best they're going to look because it's not about what they're actually doing in terms of managing the state of the city. It's just about like the theater of like, hey, buddy, back off. And everyone loves that. So
yeah, you're so right.
it was a good moment where I was like, they are kind of behooved to keep this energy up because it drives us into sides and then they get more support.
I see. I'm really enjoying watching Spencer Pratt go after Newsom for all the lack of money to the fire victims.
Yeah. But see, I disagreed with Spencer Pratt on SB 79. He was coming after one of the housing policies that got passed. We'll see. I think there's still some parts left to get signed off on, but he was like saying it was going to like ruin Malibu, and I was like, I think he's conflating these, but he has been really funny. Yeah, he's a funny guy.
It's like not the hero we wanted, but the hero we needed.
No. I was arguing with someone. They were like, well, Spencer Pratt said this. I'm a dumb comedian. Spencer Pratt's a very funny guy from the hills. I was like, no, we're influencing this random guy on what he thinks about housing in California.
The people who end up being the spokespeople for certain issues, you're like, how did we get here?
Yeah, he's against opening up zoning. I'm for opening up zoning.
And like, what?
Yeah.
A reality TV
I would
star?
love that. I would love that. I'd love to get a little more popularity from that. That would be very fun. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. It's been a second wind for him. I did drive through the Palisades just a couple days ago.
Yeah, how was it?
There's a lot more new construction than I thought I would see. And I'm sure both things are true. But you hear a lot about people having issues with permits for rebuilds to start.
Yeah.
And I saw quite a few like already framed houses that were along like Sunset.
Yeah, you do. You heard a lot about people, like they were like, oh, you have to do it the exact same way if you're going to be able to rebuild it. If you don't, we're going to put you through like this interminable long process to get it done. Yeah, that stuff drives me crazy. All the just like bureaucratic loops people have to go through to do stuff. California seems like the worst.
It
Well,
does
now you're
for
going
that.
to Texas
I
where
know.
it's all upzoned. You can build whatever you want out there. But that's why aesthetically, like if you go to Houston, you're like, no one's really coordinating this thing. It's all different heights and colors and stuff, but it's good for affordability, for sure.
Yeah. What I noticed, what I thought was fascinating about, and maybe this is just like an Austin thing because I don't really know the rest of Texas at all, but there's lots of things in shipping containers. There's like stores and restaurants and all sorts of. It's like a big part of the aesthetic is like we've put a shipping container in. We've put in some air conditioning. And everything looks like a fucking gutted station wagon with a business inside of it.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, that's different.
I'm like, hey, this end of an 18-wheeler has really good breakfast tacos.
No, we're too particular in California. We're not going to let that fly. Yeah. And we're like, it needs to be owned by 10% indigenous, 20% Chicano, and built by union. Yeah.
It does make me frustrated, though, because it's like there's nothing I'm looking forward to about living in Texas specifically. Like,
really?
There's a lot of things I'm dreading about it. I don't feel good about if I stay there for a long time, if I meet a partner there and I get pregnant there, I'm fucking terrified to be pregnant there.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, that's very scary.
Weed being illegal is super stupid.
Yeah, you gotta get Delta 9 or whatever they call it.
It's so weird. And then I was warned by some like
Porn's
comedian friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're like, whatever you do, don't drive, because I'm going to be driving there. And they're like, okay, no one really cares about weed in Austin, but like if I'm caught driving through West Texas with either an edible or a vape, it's a fucking felony.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. The Don't Tread on Me state, but they got a lot of stuff you're not
a lot of the state treading on people.
Yeah. And then it's funny, like Texas is I think they're like the leaders in alternative energy too. Like they have the most solar panels out there. Like a lot of West Texas is just covered in them. So
there must be some Christian nationalists that have stock in fucking solar panels because everything is so clear. Everything is about money everywhere, but it's so clearly about money in Texas because of how much of the state is governed by Christian nationalists.
That's, it's true. I almost, not Texas, but one of the things I always really appreciated about Miami was how transparent it was about how money is number one. You'd see like an old guy with just like a young, pretty girl. And there was just this like lack of hiding where they were just like, dude, it's transactional. And I was always like, I always got a hit from that where I was like, nice, good. We spend so much of our days being like, no, it's not like, and it's a good conflict to have, but sometimes I feel like bogged down by it. And then in Miami, they're just like, let it go. Like, I'm an ugly rich douche, my hot girlfriend. Yeah, we're using each other. It's great. I'm like, it's refreshing. I don't know if I'd want to live in it all the time, but it is nice to see. Yeah, Texas, and that is scary. I don't know. I think you'll have a good time there. You're not going to get arrested.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'll be careful. Yeah. But it's funny, like the money thing and conspiracies and how much there's this one thing that I push back on a lot online, and I'm like not qualified to have taken up this battle, but I think because of like the people that I keep talking to on the podcast, I'm like, oh, I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
But like the whole anti-vax, anti-pharmaceuticals thing, raw milk, don't even fucking get me started.
I interviewed the guy. I interviewed the raw milk guy, Raw Farms.
Yeah?
Yeah, great guy.
Really?
Yeah. I would trust.
Look, I'm curious.
The purported health benefits, I think sometimes can be a bit grandiose and not supported by science. And they don't have much research on it. And to his credit, he's like, I've applied to the FDA to do research. They don't want to do it. They want to suppress raw milk. But I trusted, I wouldn't trust all raw milk. I would trust him. He seems to put a lot of money and work into making sure the product is clean, but they've still had outbreaks and stuff. But then he was going to get a job in RFK's administration. And to me, that's like putting Jiri Dreams of Sushi in charge of food. Like, you do this specific thing and you put a lot of art and heart into it, but like, you're not going to be able to mass produce that and scale it to the whole nation. And yeah, some of the health benefits, like they're like, camel's milk can help kids with autism. I'm like, well, I don't know if I'd say that. Like, you might need some research to back it up. But there is something called the farm effect, where kids who grow up on farms do have a stronger immune system. Now, whether that comes from raw milk or not, it's still just speculation. But
it's probably them being outside and laboring.
Could be, just a healthy life. It could be a million things. But yeah, he was a pretty compelling guy. And but a lot of people didn't like that interview and thought I went too easy on him. I thought I was pretty hard on him. I was like, but people were like, no, you kind of.
I'm so glad you're talking to people like that. So the conversations that I've had around it have been with scientists and registered dietitians.
Oh, nice. Well, that's better.
Yeah.
That's who I should. People said I should have interviewed one of them to counterbalance it. Yeah.
So the thing that I guess upsets me the most about it, not just the Listeria and Salmonella and E. coli risk that is pretty prevalent, but the fact that from my understanding and what I've looked into is that when you pasteurize milk, it loses a lot of its vitamin C. However, milk is not a good source of vitamin C anyways. The same way that sugar has iron in it, but sugar isn't a good source of iron because if you eat too much of it, it causes other issues. Same thing with just having too much milk in general. And that one of the enzymes that is taken out during the pasteurization system is also an enzyme that we make. So a lot of the rhetoric around the nutrients that are lost.
That's the big thing, is that the enzymes and the bioactivity is reduced to zero. And that's where a lot of the health
we don't
benefits
need
come.
any of those, that those aren't legitimately things that we need, or that like the nutritional profile that people actually get out of milk, which is like vitamin A, vitamin D, calcium.
That all exists with
They're all fat soluble, so the pasteurization doesn't impact them.
You know a lot about it. That's wonderful.
I get like so obsessive, but I think where I was getting at with that, because I kind of went on a tangent there.
No, but I want to keep talking about the raw milk thing too. Yeah. But go.
Let's loop back to it. But I think so many issues, not just with the pharma, the RFK, that stuff, the conversation with it is people, and I find myself struggling with this too. It's really, really hard to hold two truths at once.
Yeah.
So that's why people get so polarized, is because yes, we were lied to about a lot of COVID stuff.
Yes.
That is true.
Yeah.
However, we still need regular vaccines for measles. That is also true. And people cannot like hold the two ideas together. And they're like, oh, the pharmaceutical companies are so evil. They make so much money. The wellness industry makes way more than the pharmaceutical industry. And it's not regulated.
And they'll do BS stuff to drive that polarization. Like some of the this guy was cool, but some of the raw farms guys or raw milk guys, they'll, like, one law is you can't take it across state lines because every state has its own laws on raw milk. So some of the guys would intentionally draw it across state lines, get in trouble with the FDA when it's a clearly outlined rule that they should know to abide by. And then they would claim that the government was trying to shut them down because they don't want raw milk they don't want people healthy. And you're like, and I even asked him, and he's like, he copped to it. He's like, no, I think they're being lame when they do stuff like that. Like, because you're basically saying you're getting some outlaw cachet so you can drive up your sales and drive up your interest.
Yes.
And it's not in good faith. And you're perpetuating what you're talking about, which is this like, now, we got the Maha, and then we've got like, no, I'm all about science. And it's like, both sides are pretty uneducated.
Yeah. And we have to learn to hold both things. Everybody needs accountability all across the way. Like, you can think that, you can understand that, like, yes, we were fucking lied to. They pushed the COVID vaccine out way too quickly. They didn't do all the testing they should have done.
Maybe we should have been let out a little bit earlier, stuff like that.
Yeah. So it's like, that can be true. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we need to let pregnant women run fucking fevers and not take Tylenol.
Yeah. And that all science is bad or something
exactly.
Like that. Yeah. And then even like the Tylenol thing, I was messing with my liberal friends. I was like, but have you been more nervous to take Tylenol since you heard all this?
Unfortunately, yes.
And it's like, of course, a little bit. Like, and I think I haven't looked into that one, so I can't really weigh in. But I agree with you. Like, I think baseline, I try to side with like established thinking, but we should always be patrolling that to see where we're making mistakes, because of course we're gonna make them. But like, I don't think you should throw everything out. And it's and it's just become so cultural. Like, my friends, like, they drink like a Republican coffee and like a Republican milk. And I'm like, it's just...
how did we get here?
Yeah, it just bums me out. I'm just like, oh, man. And then the milk thing, his milk's very expensive because to make a profit on it, they have to... Because they do like a bunch of checks on it after the fact to make sure that like the bacteria is not spreading, that it's, gets into the cold quick enough to keep it safe. And that costs a lot. So he charges like $20 a gallon. Like, I'm not worried about it becoming the norm because it's like a diamond. It's like so expensive, but it tastes amazing. Like, it really does.
I'm sure it does. Before it became political, I remember wanting to try raw milk, and then it became so popular that I was like, wait a minute, why is it all of a sudden gaining so much popularity?
Yeah, and then I guess my broader, because I totally agree with you. Like, the things you said, and you know more about it than I do. Like, talking about like the fat solubility of like the vitamins from it and all that stuff. Like, I guess my broader argument when people got upset at me was I was like, well, leafy greens spread more E. coli and have killed more people than raw milk have over the last 40 years. Like that's empirically true, and you don't have to be a genius to Google it and to see the numbers on it. And we let people eat leafy greens, and we let people, smoke cigarettes and drink and stuff. So I'm like, I don't think it should be the standard that we're all living by, but if people want to do it, I think it should be. It's weird to me that it's illegal in a lot of states. And like you have to do like a cow share. You have to like own a cow, like part of a cow. To get
I didn't know that.
I'm like, look, if someone wants to be kooky and drink raw milk, we let people do crazy things. Let them roll the dice.
Yeah,
but I don't know. That's my take on it.
No, it's true, and I'm so much more of the mindset, and it sucks because it gets really, really murky when it comes to vaccines and
that's different. That's
herd
different.
immunity.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like even with raw milk, even though I'm sitting here telling people not to drink it because it's too risky, like risk versus reward isn't good enough. But I still think people should have the bodily autonomy and the freedom to be able to do things like that and consume things like that, provided it's not impacting people around them.
I totally agree. And I think that was the hard thing with the vaccines. Like I beefed a lot with Joe Morrissey because he didn't want to get the vaccine, and then he couldn't be on our like Netflix show because of it. And I was like, dude, just get the vaccine. And I didn't think it should be mandatory. That's where I was, but I was like,
I agree.
But I was hard on him about it because I was like, and I was thinking about my career and like maybe it was better what he did. He stood up for himself, and looking back on it, that was a tough time. And then they mismanaged the rollout so much. Like Rachel Maddow being like, if you get the vaccine, you can't get COVID. Like,
yeah, they just lied.
And I think they thought that maybe at the time, but like they were so adamant. And then it was like every month we'd catch them on a new lie, and you could just feel like, and whether they were telling that lie because maybe it wasn't a lie, it was just the best available information, but like it just eroded trust. And now we're at this point of just like zero institutional faith, which I just think is like bad for everybody.
I agree.
Yeah.
We can't end on that
No,
down
it felt like,
point,
but I was trying to think of the next thing to say. And I was like, you kind of just really bogged us down, JT.
We did, but I'm so glad we talked about it because there's so much. Like what I appreciate about you is you bring nuance to these conversations.
Oh, that's nice.
And that
Thanks.
people don't, and I have kind of considered myself probably pretty staunchly moderate on a lot of things. But in that, I feel constantly like ostracized and nervous to talk about certain things because I feel like you're not allowed to have nuance in anything anymore. Everyone expects you to be like 100% on their team. Oh,
yeah, it's crazy. That part drives me nuts. And I also think like the best thing you can do, like sometimes you got to, just like philosophically, this is what I feel like. Sometimes you do have to just throw in with your team and support them even if it's not perfect. But I think the best thing you can do is keep your own side accountable. Like if you see friends that you overall agree with, but they're doing, and I was afraid to do this for a long time, but like, I think I've gotten a little bit better about it where I'm just like, no, like I know this part of, like we're right about like these 7 things, but these 3 things we're wrong on. I should point that out because like it makes me a more credible person. It makes me feel better about myself that I'm being honest too. And then like, but then you go too far with that and all of a sudden it's like, it becomes a narcissism thing and you're like, well, I just always do my own thing. It's like, well, guess what? No one wants you on their fucking team then, dude. Shut up.
Such a good point.
Yeah, but I try to like, I do think sometimes I'm like, no, I know that part's like a little wonky. And then like you said, the loudest people, like I was doing a bit about it when I would go to the ICE protests, the people in charge, I was always like, who's in charge? It's typically people younger than me. So they're a bit like, it's good. There's more urgency, but then sometimes the messaging would get big and they'd be like, like fuck ICE and everybody fuck ICE. And I was like, well, that's what we're here for. And they'd be like, and free Palestine. And I was like today? And then, and they'd be like, and like kill the landlords. And I was like, whoa. I'm like, you got me on like 1.5. I'm like, or 2, but like not today. Yeah. And it was like, yeah, it's tough because you'll try to throw in and do the right thing, and then you feel like it gets bigger than what you signed up for sometimes.
That's so real. And it's so easy to galvanize young people because they're not busy raising families and paying bills and worrying about things. Yeah,
and I do think they're the tip of the spear with like positive change and stuff. But sometimes, as I get, I'm like 37, sometimes I'm like, I'm just not as, I've never been a radical. I've never, ever been a radical at all. I'm a very boring, moderate person. I've always been like, we are all kind of the same at the end of the day.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good takeaway is that the loudest people are the most extreme. So not everybody feels like that. Most people are in the middle.
Yeah.
Most people are looking for an opportunity to be financially stable, an opportunity for their families to be healthy and happy and go after things that they want, and for people to have general safety. I think that is like what most people want. And obviously, everyone has their own kind of ideas of how to get there. But at the end of the day, like if we don't scream at each other and we try to have dialogue about it, we can find out that like there's way more in common, and like we need to be battling like the corporations and the 1% and not fucking each other.
Yeah, try to
you
make
know?
things more fair.
Yes.
And try to pull in the same direction to do that. Yeah. And then we'll fight along the way, but that's fine.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, fighting's good.
Well, JT Parr, what do you have going on? Where can people find out more?
You can check me out at our podcast, Going Deep with Chad and JT. Just had an episode drop today. We ranked the coolest people of all time. And then me and Chad will have this new series on our YouTube, Chad and JT Go Deep. And yeah, that's it. And then JT Parr 14 on Instagram if you want to ask for advice.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming
thank
back
you. I
and
always
doing
have
the
a
show.
blast talking to you. It's great to see you.
Of course, you too. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Bye.
That's it.